This is the story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. I mean, this is how I became a full-time composer. Buckle in, this is going to be quite a long one. Well, I think so. So I'm not going to go all the way back. I'm going to go back to the point where I realised I wanted to write music for a living, or at least that be my thing. This was before I went to university. I was in a band and I was like, I want to write music like Danny Elfman. I want to be a film composer. I want to write music like that. So I found a university degree it was called Music and Visual Arts. So we studied music and art and the intertwining relationship between the two. It was awesome. I ended up producing video work mostly, which was, my final piece was a collection of video monitors, and on the videos I had orchestrated a 7-minute long piece using videos as the video score. It was very conceptual. It sounded like a 70s horror movie, but it was a huge amount of fun. So I leave uni. Uni was brilliant because it exposed me to so many things, but I still had this thing in my head. I want to be a composer, specifically for film. I was blessed that my tutor at uni, Connell Gleeson, had experience as a composer and an orchestrator, and he would do sort of the odd lesson here or there specifically about that stuff, which I absolutely loved so much. I learned a huge amount from them. But my course itself wasn't specifically focused on music for the media, music for this, music for that, music for whatever. So I took it upon myself to study outside of my university degree to teach myself the things I thought a composer needed, like the ability to read music, the ability to use notation and understand more advanced harmony beyond major and minor triads and things. It was a lot of fun. I would just spend my time reading classical music scores, listening to classical music, and training myself to be the composer I thought I needed to be. Fast forward to the end of my degree. I come out, me and my wife, my now wife, we decided to go travelling, which was amazing. But what happened was, after I finished university and before I went travelling, I was telling everybody, I was saying, look, I'm going to be a film composer. I'm going to write music for a living. I was literally telling everyone. Anyone I meet at the pub, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a composer. And I was telling people I was a composer. And the amount of conversations I had that were like, oh, so what do you do? And I'd be like, I'm a composer. And they say, oh, brilliant, that's your job. And I'd be like, well, I don't get, I haven't done any paid work yet. And they'd say, so it's your hobby. And I'd be like, Burf. So I told everyone and anyone I could. And it just so happens that my best friend was in a band at the time, and they were doing a showcase, and they wanted some music to walk on stage to, in the style of 24. And I happen to have been a massive fan of that TV show and its score by Sean Callery. So I wrote this sort of piece of music, heart beeps, tension. It was basically a tension bed, my first piece of production music, for the band to walk on stage to in the key for their first song, with like risers and all sorts of reverse stuff for them to be like and crack into their track. The lead singer's wife the lead singer's girlfriend happened to work for a music publisher that worked in sync. So my name got passed forward, and she asked me to send a reel over. And this was the time when I sent over a burnt CD of demos, basically just demos. Up until that point, this is the way I have often worked. I still work to this point where I work on a rough sketch and I just send it out. Rough sketch done. And she liked one of the tracks and said, look, coming in for a meeting. And I had a meeting with them, and they were like, look, we put music to ads. Do you want to come on board as one of our composers? And I was like, hells yeah. And then I remember the train journey home being like, I've made it, I'm there, I'm a composer. And little did I realise that, as with a lot of work, it's sort of pro bono. You work for free until you land the job. But anyone who's worked in advertising knows that when you land a job, it pays very well. And the royalties can be very, very good as well. So advertising is pretty ace. But none of this was paying the bills. So we went traveling. My wife and I decided it was time to buy a house when I was unemployed and she was an intern, pretty much, or very, very low level of her job. So I had to bring in some money. So I worked at The Gap at the time whilst I was writing music on the side. Now, just so I want to paint a picture. At this point, this was 2007. So this was almost 20 years ago. So the availability of contacts and things was not like it is now. The availability of opportunities was not like it is now. I mean, YouTube was very young then. So it wasn't on people's radar to be like, put your music on YouTube. And if we did put it on YouTube, it was like, this is my show reel. So it was a very, very different place. And when I say I was doing music on the side, I was basically just writing the music I wanted to write. And that was it. Great. Very happy about that. But I needed to earn some money, so I started teaching music in schools. I was a classical guitarist and an electric guitarist. I trained in those things, or at least got grades in classical guitar, trained as an electric guitarist, and doing whole class music. So I would do that sort of part-time through the week whilst responding to these ad briefs. Now, these ad briefs were amazing, because I'd get them every day, between sort of 1 and 3 of them every day. The deadlines were usually very, very tight, because they were usually responding to existing catalogues. So it would be like, oh, we're looking for music that sounds like... my mind has gone blank. Music that sounds like the score to the Royal Tenenbaums. So they'd send their existing stuff, and they'd also send that email to me saying, do you have anything like this? And I'd say, yep. And then I'd spend the next 2 hours writing a piece of music to fit that brief. So it was an amazing, amazing practice for me. And you can do the same with Taxi now. You can sign up to Taxi for free. They send briefs every day, pretty much. And you can practice your writing skills. That's what I was doing. I was writing to brief every single day, sending tracks off. And, most of the time my tracks got nowhere, got no feedback whatsoever. Occasionally, one of my tracks would get to the next round where the supervisor who was in charge of the music search would say, oh, this is quite good, actually. But then it would get to the clients. So I got very close with the Financial Times ad once, which I was super excited about. But anyway, this happened for years. I was doing this for 3 years. And the first job I landed was a Hewlett-Packard online ad, which paid 500 quid, which at the time felt like massive, because that was sort of my 2 weeks of my teaching. So I was just like, this is amazing. It was like this online Hewlett-Packard ad. But in that 3 years, nothing really happened apart from that ad. And then on the third year, I landed a Nokia internet thing, which again, I think paid about £1,000, which was huge. I mean, I was just like, it was amazing. But little did I know, around the corner was my first big placement, which was a national TV ad for a cheese company. The ad fee was basically like, what was it? I got 10 grand for the year, and that kind of equated to, back then, your sync fee, which for me was 10 grand, would be matched in royalties, which it did. So, and they relicensed that for 2 more years. So that was 3 years of those fees. And that was massive. I had my first big national TV ad. I suddenly got a bit more respect because I'd landed something. I had something on my show reel that wasn't just an internet ad. All of a sudden, I felt like the real deal. I felt like I was a composer. Still working with this music publisher, who at the time got bought out by another publisher. They also had a production music arm, who I kind of introduced myself to. I didn't get any work with them, but I introduced myself. I was like, hey, I'm a composer, And I've known them ever since. They eventually became Cavendish Music again. They were Cavendish, they got bought out, and then they got bought out again, and they've gone back to being Cavendish. So that is what's, I know Cavendish Music because of that, me introducing myself when I went to London to meet the sync consultants. So, got my first national TV ad. I started getting other things too, and then somebody, smaller things. Again, nothing that enabled me to stop teaching. All this while, I've been teaching in schools. Usually, 3 full days teaching in schools, or 2 days not teaching. And then that was when I got my first job writing for a production music library, where you'd write an album of stuff based on the brief by the library, and they'd pitch it off, and this was great. I really enjoyed it. It never really landed anything massive. I got a few TV promos from it, which was, again, brilliant, more stuff to put on the show reel. But at this point in my life, I had been sort of pushing 4 years, 4 years of part-time composer work whilst teaching in schools. I was feeling a little bit frustrated. 4 years. Then I started working in trailers. One of the production music companies I worked for, they said, "Hey, I know these guys in LA, they do trailer stuff. Do you fancy having a go?" And I was like, trailer music is a thing? I thought it was just the film scores. So anyway, got with them. That was Pusher Music. I mean, excellent bunch of people. They taught me so much about writing trailer music. And I landed my first trailer with them. It was Men in Black 3, trailer 3, I think 5 seconds of a custom Danny Elfman thing that I did. It was awesome and epic. And I landed a couple of other smaller things with them. But the way I was writing kind of hybrid orchestral stuff at the time. And on Pusher's books were some immensely talented other composers. I mean, immensely talented. They blew me out of the water. So they would often win the jobs. We were all put against the same thing, same companies, same films, sorry. And then it got to this point. My wife was pregnant with our firstborn. This was now approaching 6 years of part-time composer, and I was feeling really frustrated. I had been taking the money that I got paid for music and creating sort of a runway, which I strongly advise any composer do. And I was just feeling so frustrated. By this point, I knew other composers who started after I did, and they were full-time already, or they were sort of jetting off to LA to work with one of the big composers, or they were landing big trailers or big ads, and I was feeling really frustrated because I wasn't getting anywhere. And I decided to just get off the fence, basically. I talked to all of my friends, my wife, endlessly talking to my wife about it. I'm scared to give up teaching because it's my consistent income, this, that, the other. She was like, just do it. It's like that scene in Indiana Jones, only the penitent man shall pass. So I had to step faithfully onto the invisible bridge. And lo and behold, I had my notice in for teaching, quit my teaching job. My notice is 6 months, because I've basically I say I'll finish till the end of the academic year and then I'll stop. And all of a sudden, I land 2 IBM TV ads, and I get approached by a Japanese film company to score their summer blockbuster. And that was me off to the races. That was me after 6 years, nearing 7, going full-time. And it felt incredible. Now, I do want to highlight a couple of things, because this is me kind of trying to share with you my experience of going full-time as a composer. I know loads of composers who went full-time much quicker than I did. Much quicker. But the thing that helped me was, one, having my teaching, my other job, to take my mind off it. Because I suddenly found myself getting so stressed and my ego being really bashed when I didn't land a job. I found it really difficult to handle. The teaching gave me a sort of safe space away from it. Even though I was teaching music, it was just a place that I could be without letting all that rejection upset me too much. The other thing was I would relish every opportunity, no matter how small. Oh, this charity wants some music for free? Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, you want me to do this demo even though you don't have a budget? Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, I'm not suggesting you sort of give yourself away for free if they have money, but a lot of times I would just take every opportunity I could. I know a friend who's got a production music company. Do you want to jump on board? Yeah, that sounds fun. What is production music, by the way? I've got a friend who's got this trailer music company. Do you want to jump on board? Trailer music's a thing? Well, sure thing. And the whole advertising thing, I didn't realise there was a job for a composer to write music for ads. Because back in my day, a composer's job was, well, you write music for an orchestra, you pitch to the Arts Council to get funding, and it gets performed in London. Ha! That was the job of a composer. Or you get in with the TV crew in London, or wherever it is, and work as a jobbing film and TV composer. Again, that's one of those frustrations I found, was that you'd approach companies to write music for them, and they'd be like, wow, we love your show reel. So what experience do you have? And you'd be like, I have no experience, thank you. And they'd be like, only composers with experience can start in film and TV. And it's like, you go, wait, how do you get the experience if you can't get a job without experience? It's just mind-boggling. And I'm sure this is the same in other areas too. So what can you learn from my experience? Well, the first one, it's a bit of a bleak one, but it might take longer than you think. If someone had said to me, when I started out trying to make this my full-time job at 23, you're going to go full-time in 7 years, I would have been like, oh no, I'm going to go into banking. I wouldn't have done that, but it's a long time. And it was hard. And I want to stress that, because a lot of the stuff you see these days, everyone makes it seem so easy to do everything. That's what social media does. It's like, oh yeah, just landed another trailer, which I'm guilty of it these days. Yeah, I'm guilty of it. You post it, you're like, oh, I'm so blessed. Landed another trailer, landed another ad, wonderful, life is good. It's hard. Even when you're landing regular jobs, it's hard. Because you never know when the next job's going to come. And I want to highlight this, and I want to be completely transparent, completely honest. You start working with a production music company, it doesn't mean you're going to get any money. I have worked for a couple of music libraries where I've produced several albums, and even today, I haven't earned any money from them. Maybe 20 quid. You could pitch your wares to trading music companies for a year and not see anything. But what gets you through that difficulty? That's where the magic is. It's having a clear goal and a deep-seated belief that it's what you're meant to do and that you will achieve that purpose no matter what. There was only a couple of times in that whole sort of 6-7 year period where I was really shaken. And ironically, that was when I got the closest. So at one time, my tracks had been approved for 2 massive Hollywood trailers. Full trailer. The editors had approved it. The trailer house had okayed it. It was going to the clients. I was like, if I land these trailers, because also back then the fees were a bit higher. If I land these 2 trailers, I'm off. This is me away to the races. And I didn't win them. And I was devastated because I was this close. But within every failure is a seed of success. You've got to remember that. You've got to keep that belief. I'm going to do this no matter what, no matter how long it takes me. And I'm going to remain positive and give out positivity. Because there's so many angry people out there. You know? I could be angry about lots of things, but it's just a horrible poisoning of yourself rather than giving the world what you think it deserves. So have that belief in yourself. That the belief that this is what you're meant to do. And even if you have a little seed of doubt in your mind where you're like, oh, I'm not sure, am I even supposed to do that? Remember that feeling. It's like a yearning. It's like that fire. It keeps pulling you back to music. It keeps pulling you back. And that will get you through the rejection, the amount of time it takes you to go full-time. It will get you through even the gaps when you have gone full-time, when you're not earning anything. It will get you through seeing other composers succeed faster or land bigger jobs than you, or more jobs, whatever it is. You will have your time. It will come. And this will get you through and keep you on that journey. It's not, I know I keep doing this as the journey, but it's not like that. It's more like up, down, way. It's like the stock market, you know, this kind of experience of highs and lows, and you've just got to ride the waves. I want to be as transparent, as honest to you composers as possible. Because I have achieved what my previous self would have deemed the utmost success. You know, earning a really good living from writing music. And it's wonderful. For me, it wasn't everything, and I didn't realise that until I got to that point, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to give back, and I kind of want to give to myself. That sounds rude. I didn't mean like that. It's like giving back. This is me giving back. This is me doing service for other composers. Looking back down the mountain of many composers climbing up with me, and me turning around and being like, hey guys, this path is simpler. But also taking some time to nourish my own soul by writing music just for me. And that is another thing I think is really, really important. It's great to be completely focused on your career, but also remember why you started in the first place. What got you into music? It wasn't to earn loads of money. It wasn't to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I mean, it might have been. I mean, it was definitely one of the reasons why I learned guitar, but it's not the reason. There's a call inside of us to make music. And you have to hold on to that. So no matter where you are in your journey, whether you're starting out, whether you're halfway through, whether you're there, achieving the success you've always wanted, I applaud you. Clap, clap, clap. And I want to say keep going. You're doing an amazing job. Keep going. Stay positive, stay focused on that feeling, that joy that music gives you. Stay focused on that place you feel is your place already. And keep going. This is turning into one of those keep calm and carry on sort of videos. And this is one of the reasons why I have decided to launch my program called the Composers Academy. again, this isn't a sell to you, but my why is so important here. Because it's all very well. I've got like 25 courses. You can learn a huge amount of stuff from me from all the experience I've had over the years, whether that's neoclassical string writing, cinematic piano, horror, whatever it is. That's one thing, but having a place, a community where you can be with other composers who are doing similar things and feeling the same struggles, feeling the same wins, having a connection with these fellow composers, I think that is incredibly important. Really, really important. So keep those connections, keep hold of that fire in your belly and that passion. I know I'm aware that I'm repeating myself here, but I'm really grateful that you tuned in to watch this. If you did enjoy it, you can click the link below to sign up to my email list. I usually do stuff like this on my email list where I'm talking about the wins, the struggles, the tips, the tactics, whatever it is as a composer. And of course, I occasionally sell you stuff. We'll try to anyway. But it's business, isn't it? Right? I'm really grateful that you listened. I'm really grateful that you watched. You are awesome and keep being awesome.